Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
It's day 2 of our art unit.
So as we left off last time, of course, we were talking about the tools that graphic designers use, which include line and shape, color, space, visual hierarchy, texture, font, and typography. And if you know those things pretty well and you have a good background, you can help with all sorts of things like corporate design, environmental design, and what was the other one? Publication design, right?
Yeah, there are lots of different fields you can go into. Depending on what you really like to do, graphic designers could also go into the film industry and be involved with lots of the animation that's going on. And nowadays, we even have films that are real people plus animated characters like King Kong. I think the King Kong movie was out a couple months ago. That was interesting.
Is that King Kong versus Godzilla?
It looked real. I saw some of it, and I thought, yeah, I would buy that. But, yeah, we've come a long way since we first started trying to do this. But Tom and I were talking again about how Star Wars wasn't quite as successful in bringing back some of the characters that had died in real life. Like Princess Leia, that actress, had passed away. She looked a little bit fake to me, but I'm sure we're going to continue to get better and better at graphic design. We're going to talk more about it today, but as we always do, we're going to read through the article first. Why is graphic design so ever-present? It has to do with the capacity of visual imagery to convey messages instantly. When we only have time for a cursory glance at something, good design can tell us a great deal in that short moment. In this sense, graphic design is a game changer for people from all walks of life. For companies and brands, good graphic design can be the difference between success and failure. It's a means of building a distinct brand identity. When people instantly associate a company with a certain look or understand its brand category from its visuals, this establishes the brand in their memory. A great example of a cohesive brand look is Apple's design. People can immediately bring to mind what an Apple product, website, store, or package looks like. And we carry a strong association between that look and the company. Good design is also essential because consumers are more likely to pay attention to something visually interesting and polished. Investing time and thought into a company's look communicates pride in the business. Even for the average person, graphic design has a noticeable impact. If all we saw were plain text, and we could only acquire information from the words themselves, life would be much duller and communication would get bogged down. The right text, color scheme, and imagery in a design can tell us exactly what we need to know without us reading a word. Spaces and materials with a unified look also help us perceive a satisfying sense of order and continuity, giving our brains a rest from visual chaos. Next time you see a great design example, pause to appreciate the time and thought that went into making it.
All right, everybody, let's get to it. Let's explain today's lesson word by word and sentence by sentence. So again, we're trying to answer the question, how does graphic design color our world? Well, let's answer that. And we've got another question here. Why is graphic design so ever-present? Why is it everywhere? Every time we get up and go out the door, we see these advertisements everywhere. We go on the internet, we see all these advertisements and these designed websites and stuff like that. Yeah, why is it so ever-present? Why is it just everywhere?
It is everywhere, but it really does influence and impact our lives. So ever-present, again, just means always around. It's just always there. There's always an ever-present chance in the summertime that it might rain in Taiwan. Sometimes it feels like that. Or the heat is ever-present in the summer. I feel like we never get a break once it starts to get really hot. So graphic design has the capacity of, or the reason why it's always ever present is that has the capacity of visual imagery to convey messages instantly. Yeah, you don't even have to read. How often have you traveled to another country like Japan? I don't speak Japanese. I don't read Japanese. And yet sometimes I can see signs and I think, oh, I know what they're selling. Oh, yeah. Or I know what kind of shop that is. Just from the good graphic design that they have on their shop or on their signs. So capacity just means the ability to do something. Capacity could also mean how much fills into a certain area. So what's your capacity in that particular conference room? The capacity there is, hold 50 people. But capacity here also means that it has the ability or the skill, or it has that sort of power to do something. So it has the power of visual imagery. There's a lot of power in just what you look at. Imagery, of course, just refers to what you see. So imagery could be something that's very descriptive, or it could even be something that's so interesting to look at that it communicates something to you. People don't have to tell you about it.
Right, so if you saw an advertisement on the bus that was all typed out, this product will make you look really beautiful.
Oh, yuck, huh?
Who wants to sit there and read that? The best way to convey the fact that this kind of cosmetic will make you beautiful is to put a picture of a beautiful woman right there, and then you get the point right away. So visual imagery has that capacity to convey messages instantly. You don't have to sit there and think about it. You know exactly what they're trying to say the second you look at it. Imagery, of course, just refers to things that you look at. It could be photographs, it could be drawings, anything that you look at that conveys some sort of meaning or basically just looks like something.
Yeah, the difference between image, which is just one specific look or picture, illustration. Imagery is visual images collectively in a group. So that's the difference between image and imagery. So when you use imagery, you're usually talking about visual images in a collection or a group together.
I guess you could say that it has the capacity, or at least it has to do with the capacity of visual images to convey messages. I guess you could say that way. It's very similar in meaning, but we use the word imagery here to refer to all images together. And when we only have time for a cursory glance at something, good design can tell us a great deal in that short moment. Something's cursory when you just see it or do it rather quickly, rather hastily, and you're not really focusing on it. So you're crossing the street and a bus crosses the intersection. You just kind of catch a glance of the advertisement. Oh, I saw some colors there and some pictures. It must be for some kind of online game or something like that.
Yeah, it just means really quick, hasty. You're not actually giving something a good look. You're just kind of glancing at it quickly. Cursory glance. You'll often see those two words together, just kind of emphasizing how quick the look was. You weren't actually looking at it or gazing at it. So good design can tell us a great deal in that short moment when we just take a quick look or have a cursory glance at something. In this sense, or in this way, graphic design is a game changer for people from all walks of life. Game changer is a very popular phrase. We've had it around for a while now. It's a game changer. If you see someone who just joined your company as a game changer, or maybe an athlete just joined a new sports team and they call him a game changer, it means that they'll have a large impact on your success or failure. So this is a big game changer for people who come from all walks of life, people from all different social statuses. It doesn't matter if you speak English very well or not. If you have the ability to look at visual images, you may not need to speak a language fluently in that country. You can just see from the graphic design and images that you look at what they're trying to communicate. You don't have to read anything.
Right, so it's a game changer, just like when the first iPhone came out. That was a game changer. After that, everyone stopped using standard cell phones and used smartphones, and life changed forever. And people from all walks of life just refers to all sorts of different people, young, old, fat, tall, skinny, etc., etc. And we almost always use this with people from all walks of life. It's generally the whole term there. We're just talking about all sorts of people that exist in the world, and indeed graphic design does affect everybody, young and old, male, female, etc., etc. So yeah, we're all affected by it, and we just love it oh so much. Okay, that brings us to the midway point in our lesson for today. It's time now to take a breather and listen to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们昨天跟今天带大家来看看 graphic design 所谓的平面设计是什么。我们昨天有特别提到，其实平面设计到处都是，而且在很多不同的领域当中都必须要用到平面设计。但是平面设计呢，其实有一个很关键的功能，就是其实它是一个 game changer。当然这个中文叫做改变游戏规则的人，但其实就是所谓的很关键的一个人事物，叫做 game changer。 怎么说呢？为什么平面设计这么重要呢？因为虽然平面设计无所不在，但是为什么需要平面设计？这就跟我们的视觉图像那种可以及时传递讯息的能力是有很大的关系的。因为我们通常没有太多的时间注意人事物，注意很久，所以如果只是短暂的时间匆匆瞥过一件事情，好的设计就能在这种短短的1-2秒，当我们瞥过 glance at something 的时候，就可以发现一些印象，或者是这个可以提到一些想法。也就是说，平面设计在短短的时间之内就可以告诉我们很多的资讯。所以如果从这个意义上来看呢，平面设计不管是设计产品啦，或者是公司的 logo 啦，或者是环境设计啦，或者是出版品的设计，那么平面设计对各行各业的人来说就是很关键的一个东西，叫做 game changer。 不过我们刚刚提到有一个关键词叫做各行各业的人，它出现在第一段最后一句的地方，最后面的 all walks of life 还蛮常见的，这个地方可以特别注意一下。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about how graphic design colors our world, influences us, and has a big impact on our lives. And when we left you, we were talking about why graphic design is always around. Why is it always ever present? Well, it has to do with its power or capacity with its visual images to convey messages instantly. I also wanted to mention we talked about the difference between images and imagery. If you use imagery, it's a little bit more elegant sounding than saying visual images. Visual imagery. It just sounds a little classier. So if you have a chance to use it, try it out. So if we only have time to take a quick look at something, and maybe we're running to catch the bus or we're on our way to work and we just glance over and see a new ad and we think, oh, I want to try that product. That looks interesting. I do. I walk outside a lot and sometimes I look at the billboards, especially at the bus stops, and I think, I wonder what kind of product that is. That looks interesting, and I'll go home and look it up later. So in this sense, if you just, are running out of time, you're in a rush, and you just glance at something, and it catches your eye, and it stays with you, That's the power of graphic design. So in this sense, graphic design is a game changer for people from all walks of life. Moving on to the second paragraph, for companies and brands, good graphic design can be the difference between success and failure. So I can see now why when my company in New York was trying to brand themselves, they spent quite a bit of time on that. I'd never gone through the process with anybody before, and it was just really fascinating that they spent so much time talking about what they represented and working through what they wanted together before they actually even picked a graphic design company.
Yeah, it's very important there. I guess you need to pick the company first. I guess those agencies or those freelancers need to have a pitch for the company. Here's what we can do for you. And, of course, they have long discussions and meetings about possible logos and designs and stuff like that.
Colors.
And again, it's a means of building a distinct brand identity. It's how you do this. You want to build a distinct brand entity, a distinct brand identity. Distinct means unique or special. So if you come out with a graphic design or a logo that somebody else has, or somebody else has one that kind of looks like yours, you've kind of failed there. You need to have something that's original that no one has done before.
A lot of people like to have their own style, so they want to be distinctive or be distinct from other people. So if you're distinct, as Tom said, you're unique. You have your own style. You have your own way of doing things. And it's very easy to distinguish you from other people. So, yeah, they want a very distinct brand identity that doesn't look like any other company, right? So when people instantly associate a company with a certain look or understand its brand category from its visuals, this helps establish the brand in their memory. Yeah, you don't want to look like your competition at all. So you want a brand and a look and feel and colors that will be very different from companies you're competing against. That is essential.
Right. So, of course, you want to establish your brand in people's memory. To establish means to set something up and to make sure that it's actually there. And so you want people to recognize you. You want to establish yourself, for example, if you start working in a company and you've kind of gotten an entry-level position or something like that. You eventually want to establish yourself. You want people to know that you're there, and you want them to know what you can do so that they start to respect you. And then you can start getting promotions, and you can be a hotshot manager and things like that. So yes, you want to establish the brand in people's memory so they can remember it, and every time they see it, they know, I know what that means. That's Apple Computer. I recognize that logo.
Yeah, it's not just their logo. If you've noticed, Apple keeps things rather clean. There's a lot of white and silver and that cute little apple, of course. You can always see a knockoff product from countries who produce fake products. You know who I'm talking about. You'll see that sometimes they use the wrong colors, or maybe the bite in the apple is on the wrong side. That's a good way of telling whether you're buying something that's real or fake. So, yeah, Apple's design is very sleek. It's clean. I like the look a lot, even though that's not my own style. I think it really has a good impact on people. And of course, they want to match everything. So their website matches the design of their stores, and everything is coordinated. That's very important. So we carry a strong association between that look, that design that they've come up with, and the company. So good design is also essential because we're consumers who buy things, are more likely to pay attention to something visually interesting. And here's the key word, polished. Sometimes I look at designs and I think, oh, that looks sloppy, or it looks like somebody in high school produced it. You know, we gain skills as we work out there in the business world and you get better at stuff. But yeah, if you look polished, you look like you're professional. If you go to a job interview, guys, you want to look polished. You want to look like you took the time to get cleaned up. Your hair is good. Your outfit matches. You look like you're ready to be hired and represent a company with a professional look. So polished is very important.
A related word is refined. So, of course, if you have a pair of shoes, they look really nice. But if you get them polished, they look even better. They look almost perfect. So that's what you want to do. You want to polish yourself. You want to be polished so you can be as best as you can. And investing time and thought into a company's look communicates pride in the business. So yes, these things do take time. Sometimes these companies are in a rush to get established and to start selling their products, but sometimes you do have to sit down and wait until the design is complete because you won't have another chance later. You need to get that right the first time. Some companies do change their logos from time to time, but it's still pretty important to get it right first. Now, here in the next paragraph it says, even for the average person, graphic design has a noticeable impact. If something's noticeable, that means you can see it. So yes, indeed, most people are not educated in graphic design, but they will still notice if something's good or if something's bad. People are not stupid.
If all we saw were plain text, we could only acquire information from the words themselves, life would be very dull. Yeah, and it would take you a lot longer because you have to read things. Here, we're using a special verb form, verb tense, called the subjunctive. If all we saw were, instead of if all we saw was, is actually subjunctive. So it's a little more advanced grammar pattern here, but we use it if we're talking about something that we're imagining could possibly happen in the future. It's not actual reality. So if I were only to eat American food in Taiwan, I would miss out on all the delicious Chinese food and Taiwanese food specialties that they have here. I'm really grateful for that. To acquire means to buy, to obtain. It could also mean to learn or develop a new skill. So these are all important things. We don't want to have to read everything. It's so much more beautiful to look at pretty pictures and look at terrific graphic design. So the right text, those are the words, right? Text is non-count. Color scheme, that is the whole palette of colors that you're using. You don't just use one color. You have to have other colors that match and blend and are attractive together. That's the color scheme. And imagery, of course, are the visual images in a collection or group. All of these things in a design can tell us exactly what we need to know without us reading a word. So yeah, all of these things together make for great graphic design.
We like to look at the pictures. We don't want to read those words if we don't have to. We're busy, we're tired. And spaces and materials with a unified look also help us perceive a satisfying sense of order and continuity, giving our brains a rest from visual chaos. If something's unified, it's all the same. It's uniform. You could also say that as well. And continuity means things flow smoothly from one thing to the next. So we like continuity in movies, for example, without those mistakes there. And the next time you see a great design example, pause to appreciate the time and thought that went into making it. And also, you might consider a career in graphic design yourself. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
不过对于公司跟品牌来说，好的平面设计就是成功 success 跟失败 failure 之间的一个区别哦。因为其实平面设计就是一种树立一种很显著的品牌识别的方法。所谓的品牌识别 brand identity 是什么意思呢？就是说，当我们看到公司的一个 logo， 我们就会感觉到这个公司给我们一种形象。也就是当大家立刻把一间公司跟某一个它的外观呢联系起来，或者是从图像去理解它品牌的类别，这就在大家的记忆当中建立了所谓的那个品牌，这个叫做 brand identity。 所以当我们把这个品牌识别做起来之后呢，我们大家一看到这个 logo， 我们就会想到是这个品牌，比如说苹果公司 Apple。好，当然好的设计就是非常的不可或缺啊，所以消费者就会注意到视觉上很有趣很精美的东西，就可以做一些这种所谓的视觉上的这种传播。那当然对一般人来说，平面设计就是一个有很明显的影响嘛，因为其实如果我们看到都只有文字没有图像的话，生活就很乏味耶。但是这不是真的啊，因为我们的生活当中有很多不同的设计跟颜色，所以在文章第3段的地方，我们看到了一个与现在事实相反的假设语气的用法。不过我们先来回顾一下所谓的假设语气。如果我们提到的是与现在事实相反的假设，在英文当中动词就会做变化，因为我们都知道英文的时态是靠动词去做变化的。所以如果我们今天提到的一件事情本身就与现在事实相反，那么句子当中的动词就不能用现在式哦，就会用简单过去式。比如说我们来看第3段第2句这个地方，第2句因为有点长，我们先做一个切割。句子我们找逗点把它切开，逗点的前面是一个条件，在条件当中与现在事实相反咯。If all we saw 主词，如果我们所看见的东西是纯文字 were be 动词一律用 were， 在与现在事实相反的假设语气当中 be 动词一律用 were。 还有另外一个动作也是与现在事实相反，后面的 could and if we could only acquire something。好，所以我们特别把这些动词圈起来。逗点之后，在这种假设之下产生了一个结果，这个结果就是生活很无聊，然后资讯也没有办法很快的传播，我们看到的就会如何如何的这个会都用 would， will 的过去式是 would。 好，所以在假设语气当中，如果是与现在事实相反的假设，第一，动词一律用简单过去式，be 动词一律用 were。 如果遇到像助动词会啊、能啊、或许这一类的助动词，也一律改成过去式。好，所以这个是对于假设语气的一个复习。当然最后我们在第3段还有看到一个分词构句，它出现在第4句的地方。第4句的地方呢，特别讲到的是，如果这个空间跟资料呢都有统一的外观，我们就会觉得有一种秩序感，有一种连贯性，那么大脑也可以稍微休息一下。好，所以这一句呢，它这个分词构句其实是逗点之后 and 的一个省略。句子原本有2个动词，一个是 help， 另外一个是 give， 逗点之后有一个 and give， 不过 and 呢在这边做省略了，所以后面的动词就用动词 ing giving。 好，所以我们这2天呢谈了很多平面设计的东西，或许你觉得很有趣，还可以再仔细研究一下哦。以上是我们今天的内容，我是安娜，我们下次见。
We hope some of our listeners out there get excited about maybe pursuing a career in graphic design. There are lots of different areas that you can focus your attention on. If you do decide to do it, we wish you lots of luck. It's a great, creative way to spend your working hours. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
See ya.